Hello and welcome race fans to the NorseForce Raider SK Modified Series race number 8 from Richmond Raceway here tonight for 60 laps, presented by Blaze Pizza, the ButtKicker, Next Level Racing, and Crockett Creek Beef Jerky. Thank you for tuning in here on V-Speed. We are excited to bring you tonight's event. Let's head to the racetrack and see what the drivers are up to. Got a few drivers on track. Looks like Lucas Cram out here on the speedway, just trying to get some laps in practice. Right now he sits second on the leaderboard, and he comes in here second in points behind leader J.R. Shepard, who's looking to extend his points gap in the race tonight. But let's take a look at the standings as they come into the event here. And we're going to bring that up right now. It looks like J.R. Shepard on top, and not too many drivers left in contention for the championship, as we only have 2 races following this one. It is J.R. Shepard on top, leading the way. Lucas Cram right there. He has 2 victories on the season, but he's still 5 points back of J.R. Shepard, who has 4 victories, but he is still within arm's reach. If anything happens here to JR tonight and Lucas takes advantage, he could come out of here the points leader. Joseph Sizek there in third. He's 22 back, still in contention, but tonight's race might decide whether or not he's going to have a shot at it. Andrew Olson, 23 points back. He's still fighting for it as well. Christopher Hyatt, 25 points back, and he is right on the edge of contention. I think if he does not win here and something unfortunate would happen to J.R. Shepard or Lucas Cram, he is most likely out of contention. But everybody else, you can see 6th on back, unable to capture a championship here. They can still advance their points positions with the next 2 races, but not going to be enough opportunity to gain points unless somebody doesn't show up. So if J.R. Shepard or Lucas Cram does not show up for a race, it is possible for some of them to get into it, but this is just assuming that they show up for every event to the end of the season. And we are on race number 8. Going to be 2 more after tonight's. And let's take a look at the weather on the racetrack tonight. 72-degree air temp and 74-degree track temp, so nice track conditions. And pretty sure it's almost full throttle all the way around here. So let's go to the nose cam here with Mr. Lucas Cram. He's actually going to slow that machine down. Let's go on board with Dave Fuse then. Just a little lift there in the center of the corner. So he's able to power it around down the front straightaway. And so it's going to be tough to pass here. These guys running basically flat out, almost like a super speedway. Lucas Cram back on the speedway now. And we want to thank you for tuning in here to V-Speed. We've brought you every race so far this season for the SK Modified Series, and on race number 8, going to be an exciting championship battle among Lucas Cram, J.R. Shepard, and others in these final few events. But we want to give a big shout out to all the sponsors once again. So we're going to just cut quickly to a commercial there and come back with the qualifying. But you can hear a word from each of the sponsors here tonight.
At Crockett Creek Beef Jerky, we don't have fancy Madison Avenue advertising. We don't have famous Hollywood endorsements. We don't have mythical creatures as mascots. See, here at Crockett Creek, we're proud of what we don't have. No artificial preservatives or chemicals, gluten-free, and no added MSG. Just all natural, small batch protein made in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. Enjoy Crockett Creek Jerky, from our backyard to yours.
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker. The future is feeling.
Okay, we're going to keep this quick.
Because at Blaze Pizza,
artisanal quality at crazy fast speed is what we're all about.
Fresh dough made from scratch daily.
Walk the line and choose any toppings you'd like.
It's all one price.
Then it's just 180 seconds in our blazing hot oven
For fast bar perfection.
That's Blaze Pizza. Sound good?
Then come check us out and build your own pizza at Blaze Pizza.
Back to the racetrack now where J.R. Shepard putting down his fast lap, trying to capture another pole. He has 3 this season, and that's not going to be a good enough lap. He will go to second. Let's see if he puts in a second lap here as he rolls out of turn number 2, trying to get as much speed, carry as much momentum through these corners, right down to that yellow line. And up by the wall, cuts it down here. And he will improve, but not capture the pole. Lucas Cram with a 6.92, and only 3 thousandths off is J.R. Shepard. As looks like Garland Bennett coming around for his second lap, trying to improve his time. He will do so, but we'll have to see if Derek Trowbridge here is able to improve, and he is as well. So he will jump to... actually, he'll hang on to that 5th spot. And let's see if anyone else is on track. Joseph Sizek puts his lap time in. We still have a handful of others. Andrew Olson now rolling onto the speedway in that number 42 machine. So he gets that race car up to speed. We'll see what he can do here to improve or get a nice solid starting position. He comes in 4th in points, just 1 spot or 1 point back of Joseph Sizek in the 3rd position in points. So he can definitely make some gains here, and if he can get a victory or come away with a nice solid top 3 finish, he can still remain in contention headed into these last 2 races. But right now sitting close to being out of contention, but he can try and keep those guys within arm's reach. He puts down a lap time, shows him as 11th fastest, but he'll get it up to speed here on the 2nd lap and try and improve that time. We'll see where he qualifies. And we'll have 2 drivers who have not gotten on the speedway just yet. It looks like they won't take a qualifying lap. As Andrew Olson puts his fast time in, he will roll off 8th here tonight. So that should do it for all of our qualifiers. As Andrew Olson brings it to a stop here. We want to thank you for tuning in tonight on V-Speed. My name is Adam Baker. I'll be the commentator here tonight. Thanks for tuning in, Lucas, as well as Jay Deadlift. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast. Hope you guys are enjoying so far. We're going to have a good race here at Richmond tonight. We are live on Twitch at the moment. We're here multiple times a week, so you can find us here. Right now it's Wednesdays and Thursdays, but we have some other stuff coming up as well. And consider following or subscribing if you have not yet. We're now trying to get up to 300 followers. See if we can do that here in the next couple months. Also, you can find us on YouTube where we post race replays for each and every race about a week after they go live here. So you can check out the last race at Lanier where Richard Murray came away with a victory. He was the first new winner other than Lucas Cram and J.R. Shepard. Check out that race over on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/vspeedsim, where we announce each and every broadcast before we go live. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter with those same announcements, as well as new merchandise, special events, and on-site reporting. Let's go back to the racetrack here and get to our starting grid. On the pole for tonight's race, it's going to be Lucas Cram, the 044. He's got to gain as many points as he can on J.R. Shepard, being 5 back. It has been neck and neck between those two, and once again, rolling off right next to each other here on the starting grid on row number 1. It'll be Lucas Cram and J.R. Shepard. In row number 2, it's going to be Jeff Dooley rolling off in 3rd. Richard Murray, last week's winner, or 2 weeks ago, rather, rolling off in the 4th position. Starting in 5th, it's going to be Derek Trowbridge. 6th will be Garland Bennett, that number 30 machine. 7th will be Zach Burek, Andrew Olson, the last of those qualifiers. He's going to roll off in 8th. Dave Fuge starting in the 9th position. Joseph Sizek, your 3rd points position driver, rolling off in the 10th position. In 11th, it's going to be Brian Neff, last of the qualifying times in that number 60 Winn-Dixie machine. Jake Gualano rolling off in 12th. And Chris Fritz going to be rolling off in the 13th position. And that will round out the field here tonight as we await the pace car to get moving here. And we'll see. There we go. Pace car is rolling. Probably just going to be 1 or 2 pace laps around here. Maybe just the one. So looking forward to a great event here at Richmond Raceway, 3/4 mile racetrack, almost a super speedway for these cars, as they will be nearly full throttle the entire race, or at least in the early stages of a run, and they cannot take tires in this series. So they're going to be on the same set of tires for 60 laps, which is quite a ways around here, 40-mile race. And these are some of the longer laps of the tracks that we've been running at. So we'll see if these guys can keep their focus for that entire length. See if these guys can keep it clean as well, as it looks like a few drivers not taken to the grid here. Andrew Olson going to start from pit lane. Chris Fritz, Jake Gualano also not in the field, so unsure of what's going on there. Maybe they decided not to partake, or maybe they are going to make the same decision as Andrew Olson and start from pit lane, but we will have to see. Like always, cheer on your favorite driver in chat so we can call them out and let them know you're here and supporting them. Give them a big shout out in that chat. We've already got Jay Deadlift cheering for Dave Fuge, as Lucas Cram, J.R. Shepard waiting. Now the pace car in, waiting to get going here in race number 8. And Lucas Cram on the throttle. They are off and away. Green flag in the air here at Richmond Raceway. Lucas Cram leading the field down into turn number 1. He jumps out in front of the 98 machine, and there's going to be a bit of a draft here tonight. We'll see these guys try and work off of each other and see if they can pull any kind of a slingshot move down these straightaways, long straightaways for these race cars as they come across and complete lap number 1. Let's bring up our ticker. Lucas Cram showing the way among the field here, and I think we may have had contact a bit farther back. Looks like Joseph Sizek, that 53 machine, down underneath Garland Bennett. He's already gained a couple spots, so move that 53 into 7th position as he starts his march toward the front. And they are trying to find some way to disrupt the air movement. Brian Neff moving to the 9th position. And here goes Derek Trowbridge now to the inside of Zach Burek, but Burek slams the door shut. 57 of Trowbridge now peeks down to the inside here down the front straightaway. He'll get a push from the 53 of Sizek, who now goes to the inside of Burek as well. And he's going to try and take that position away, but out in front, Lucas Cram fighting off J.R. Shepard for the moment. The 044 going a little bit wider there out of the corner. He cuts it right down to the first lane. The 98 trying to follow him around, trying to find some way to make the move as the 044 dives it in low here. J.R. Shepard a little slide in the center of the corner, but he's able to keep it under him. Now putting tons of pressure on Lucas Cram. As the top two out in front, Jeff Dooley here waiting for something to happen so he can close in. But currently riding in that third spot, Richard Murray in the fourth position. A short distance back, just about a half second. Derek Trowbridge all by himself out in front of this gaggle of cars. Zach Burek, Joseph Sizek side by side. Brian Neff moving forward as well. This is sixth on back. As now Neff able to complete the pass on Sizek. He puts pressure on the back bumper of Burek, who gets loose. And then 81's going to drift up the track. Neff looks down low. Will he dive it in here? Looks like he will stick it right down next to the yellow line. He'll get on the yellow line, get a little bit loose there, but has a good run. And Garland Bennett coming up from behind, trying to give him a bit of a push with the draft here. And the 81 up high, unable to make that high line work in the early stages. And now Garland Bennett going to follow Brian Neff through. Neff moves to the 6th position, up from the 11th starting spot. So already making big gains here. Andrew Olson all the way back here in the 11th spot after starting from the pits. And we'll have to see if he can close in. He's hoping for a caution. Currently 16.9 seconds back of the lead pack, and they are closing in. You might be able to see them. There they are at the back of the screen. As Lucas Cram continuing to lead. He's led every lap so far. But J.R. Shepard not giving up his charge right on the back bumper of Cram. And Jeff Dooley has started to close in. Maybe saved his stuff there for the first 10 laps. As I'm not sure if we have the new tire model on these SK Modifieds, but there is a new tire model here in iRacing. And it is very easy to abuse the tires early on while they're still cold. So we'll see if any of these drivers have learned the new tire model a bit, and if it comes into effect here. But lots of updates to iRacing in this previous, or in this most recent update, is now J.R. Shepard gets to the inside. Lucas Cram went a bit wide there, couldn't get it turned down. J.R. Shepard gonna dive it in. Cram gonna try and pinch him down there. Oh, and Shepard sideways. They will remain nose to nose down into turn number 3. Cram right there trying to keep him pinched down, but looks like the 044 maybe burned the tires up, and J.R. Shepard will take over the top spot. Looking for his 5th victory in 8 races if he can capture one here tonight. But Lucas Cram trying to pull a crossover, and he will. Down to the inside. The 98 has not closed the door. Leaves it wide open. Sends it hard into turn 3. And they're going to trade the spots right back. And Jeff Dooley right here on the bumper. As J.R. Shepard once again really throws it into the corner. You can see Lucas Cram working the wheel. And they are driving these things hard, trying to carry as much momentum as they can a quarter of the way through the race. It's been green the whole way, and we've got a 4-way battle for the top spot, with Derek Trowbridge not far behind them. And I'm going to go on board with J.R. Shepard and see what he is dealing with here. As he peeks now down to the inside of Lucas Cram, the battle for the lead is on. Oh, and you can see the back end's trying to slip out from under him. He's working the wheel, and they remain side by side. Lucas Cram up high, doing a great job of forcing the 98 into a mistake here. But this time by, looks like Shepard going to be able to hang on to it. And he will lead another lap. Lucas Cram settles into second. And try and pull across over here. The 98 loose again. Now the 444 right to the back bumper. I think that slowed up his momentum. Here comes Jeff Dooley now to the outside. And the 08 of Richard Murray right in this pack now. The question is, can anyone get back out in front of J.R. Shepard? Usually it seems like when he takes the lead, it's hard to get it back. Richard Murray now going for that third spot over Jeff Dooley. Nearly 20 laps into the event already. As now lap 20 goes up on the board. Just knocking them out here, 22-second laps. And Richard Murray here has joined in the four-way fight. And it looks like Trowbridge is closing. And then we've got three cars back here led by Garland Bennett, then Joseph Sizek, Brian Neff. Pretty close battle going on there. And then Zach Barrick, Dave Fuge kind of lagging behind. Andrew Olson still 17.5 seconds back. He's trying to stay on the lead lap, if at all possible. But Joseph here doing what he needs to do to hang on to this third position in points, as Andrew Olson is the last car on the field. And Joseph comes in with a 1-point advantage over him. Still a bit of a gap up to Cram and Shepard, who lead the race here. J.R. Shepard starting to pull away. Same song, different dance. J.R. Shepard, Lucas Cram, who have won 6 of the 7 races here combined. Currently out in front, the top 2. Richard Murray in third. So actually every driver that's won a race up in the top 3 right now. And Jeff Dooley falls to the 4th position. Derek Trowbridge now just a few tenths back of Dooley. Kind of watch them as they go through the corner here. The top 5 fairly evenly spaced, and we are approaching halfway here in just a few laps. J.R. Shepard takes over the top spot from Lucas Cram. You can see him cut down across the track there and try and minimize the distance, try and break the draft, and it's working. But one little mistake, one wiggle can close that gap up immediately. So it looks like Lucas Cram starting to mount a charge here, trying to close back in. The gap just 3.5 tenths. He started on the pole. He's led 15 of the 26 laps that have been completed. But finds himself chasing down familiar foe J.R. Shepard. Richard Murray right here behind them. He's about a half second back of Lucas Cram. Jeff Dooley just another couple tenths back. He is closed back into the rear bumper of the 08. And Derek Trowbridge just about a half second back of Dooley, as he's not swinging it out quite as wide there. You can see maybe he's saving some tire, and it might come down to the timing of doing that. Maybe save the tire a bit early and a little bit as the run goes on, and you might have something at the end. I think they're basically running the same lap times as what they started with, but the gap in between the top 2 is closed back down now to 1/10. Make it 2 tenths into turn number 1. But Lucas Cram has closed back in. It's just about a car length and a half between the 2 modifieds. Your top 2 in the points, running as they came into the points, first and second. J.R. Shepard, Lucas Cram. We crossed the halfway point there. Lap 31 goes on the board. And we are just knocking this thing out. No cautions yet. As the 044 of Lucas Cram now 1 car length the gap between the top two. He looks down low, just closes in another half car length. And he's running, he's checking up a little bit more on turn entry and getting a great run off the exit, just a half car length again. And it might take a bump and run at these kinds of speeds. Basically flat out 125, 130 miles an hour down the front straightaway. And then 112 or so through the corner. Those two so evenly matched on times, just 3/1000ths of a second separating them on lap times, and the 044 is there. He's just got to put more pressure on J.R. Shepherd. Gonna have to try and find a way to get the nose underneath like the 98 did to him, as they are both working the wheel on those SK modifieds. And they are closing into the back bumper of Andrew Olson. The gap just a few seconds to the 42 machine, so that could be a factor here. But Lucas Cram, you can see how close he is. That's the difference right there, about a car length and a half once again. The top three have now broken away. Looks like Jeff Dooley unable to keep pace with these three. Derek Trowbridge has closed in to the back bumper of him, and that gap just about 0.4 of a second. As he cuts way down through the front straightaway there, trying to close the gap as much as possible. Richard Murray has closed back into the 044, and he'd be going for 2 wins in a row here. He'd be the first back-to-back winner other than J.R. Shepherd. And of course, J.R. had that 3-win streak where he led every single lap of the races. Just an incredible feat early on in this season. He has not finished outside the top 10. But Lucas Cram has had a great run this year as well. Every finish has been a podium except for 5 flags, the second race of the season, where he got wrecked out early. So if it hadn't been for that, he would probably be your points leader. But they both, Lucas Cram and J.R. Shepherd, have both had a race with a wreck, so it's pretty even. They just happen to finish a little bit differently in the end result, as we are now at lap number 40. The last third of the race here coming up, and it's a top 3 breakaway. 1.3 seconds the gap back to Jeff Dooley. So look out the back bumper. This is from Richard Murray to Dooley. That's going to be a tough gap to make up. And Dooley currently running about a 0.5 to a 1/10 slower a lap than these top 3. Your fastest driver on the racetrack at the moment is Lucas Cram, but he's still 2 car lengths back. It's going to be very tough for him to get there. And that time by J.R. Shepherd, the fastest on the racetrack again. But just about a 1.5 seconds up to Andrew Olson, who's trying to stay on the lead lap, but doesn't have any kind of draft. And started from the pits, no cautions to help him out at this point. And still plenty of time for those guys to catch up to him, and he could be in the way, but I'd expect Andrew to pull aside and probably give these guys plenty of room to run. But not going to be a good points night for Andrew, who's not going to get help from the caution here, it looks like. As J.R. Shepherd, the points leader, currently out in front. He's led 28 laps and looking for most laps led. But Lucas Cram, a good run out of the corner there. He closes up a car length. And it'll be 15 to go next time by, the last quarter of the race. And it's the nature of these races with these SK Modifieds on a bigger track. They start to get spread out, and you're not going to get cautions. You got to be smooth and consistent with your line. You got to save the tires as much as you can. Don't make any big mistakes that'll cost you your momentum, because that's what's ultimately going to win you the race. If you have the momentum for as long as you can. Lucas Cram with an issue there. He loses a car length, now gains it back out of turn number 4, but he's still 2 or 3 back, and it's just not looking like he's going to have the speed to be able to close in. But they are definitely closing in about 2/10 a lap on Andrew Olson. This is what it looks like from behind. Oh, Lucas Cram with a peak down low, but nowhere to go with the run. As he's still too far back to make anything happen into the last quarter of the race. Who is going to win it, folks? Can Lucas Cram mount a charge here? Can he capture his 3rd win of the year? Is it going to be another one for J.R. Shepard? It would be his 5th. And it would be a huge statement saying, you're going to have to go through me in these last 2 races. I'm going to be here to stay. For J.R. Shepard, if he can do it again. But closing in on Andrew Olson down the front straightaway, the 42 staying high. We'll see what he does here in front of the leaders. But if he catches him at the wrong spot, it could definitely throw a wrench in things, as we are coming to 10 to go this time by. The top 3 all within a second of each other, actually within a half second of each other across the line there. It was 0.483 back to Richard Murray as Andrew Olson goes high. This is probably going to hurt. It's going to hurt the 044 more than it hurts J.R. Shepard. That could widen the gap, as now the 044 of Lucas Cram has to send it in low. And definitely going to hurt his run in the center of the corner, and he does lose about a 10th in that exchange. So J.R. Shepard getting a bit of an advantage through that whole sequence. And Richard Murray is closed into the back bumper of Lucas Cram. Now looks down low, nowhere to go. Oh, he gets loose in front of the 42. He's going to lose a lot of momentum there. And he'll lose about 0.3 of a second to the top 2 drivers. Lucas Cram closing in. He was fastest on the track by about 1/10 of a second. So he is closing back in, really pushing that car now. And he has to. He needs to gain every point he possibly can. As J.R. Shepard has led the most laps here, he's not going to get that bonus point, but he could get the bonus point for the win. The gap 0.2 of a second. Andrew Olson brushes the wall there. And let's take a look a bit farther back at this battle. Looks like Joseph Sizek, Jeff Dooley, and Derek Trowbridge. Trowbridge has gotten past Dooley, so he moves to the 4th position. Dooley trying to fight off Sizek in that 53 car. As next time by, it's going to be 5 laps to go. The top 2 in clear command of this race. Richard Murray about 0.3 back. He's closing in. But it's going to be exciting. Can Cram close the deal? Can he get there? Trying everything he can to gain any ounce of time. Those top 2 starting to stretch out in front of Richard Murray. That gap now 0.8 back to Murray. As across the line now, 4 to go. The top 2 fighting for the victory. This is also a huge statement for the championship. If Lucas Cram can somehow get there and make the pass in these closing laps, he would gain points and it would tighten up that battle. But J.R. Shepard running perfect laps here. Cram not fast enough that time by. 3 laps to go. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Now he closes in the 98, a bit loose in 1 and 2. The gap just 1 car length between them going into turn number 3. And it will be 2 to go next time by J.R. Shepard trying to hang on to this. And Lucas Cram trying to take it back away. He started on the pole, but slipped up once. J.R. Shepard was there to take advantage. But now coming around turns 3 and 4 to the white flag. The gap still a car length and a half. The 98 of J.R. Shepard just can't make any mistakes here, and he's got a clear victory. A car length and a half, the difference across the line. And J.R. Shepard, a little wiggle out of turn 2. He gets very sideways. Here comes Lucas Cram with the charge down the back straightaway. He's not close enough. Can he get there? Can he get the bumper to him? The 98 a little bit sideways out of 2, but it's not going to matter. He hangs on for the victory. And J.R. Shepard will win another one here. And the NorseForce Raider SK Modified Series. Congratulations to J.R. Shepard. Win number 5 for the driver of the 98 SK Modified. I'm sure he is going to be very happy. An intense battle with himself and Lucas Cram to close this thing out. And we are going to cut quickly to commercial break after JR starts doing his burnout here. If he does do a burnout. There we go. So J.R. Shepard wins race number 5 for himself this season, and gonna extend his points lead with 2 races left in the season. Gonna be a happy man in that race car. But we will be right back to interview the top 3 after this quick commercial break.
Crockett Creek Beef Jerky, we don't have fancy Madison Avenue advertising. We don't have famous Hollywood endorsements. We don't have mythical creatures as mascots. See, here at Crockett Creek, we're proud of what we don't have. No artificial preservatives or chemicals, gluten-free, and no added MSG. Just all natural, small batch protein made in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. Enjoy Crockett Creek Jerky, from our backyard to yours.
And back at the racetrack now, we're going to be bringing up the race winner here tonight. But of course, we want to let you know you can save 20% off your purchase of ButtKicker products using the code NORSE20 at ButtKicker or at thebutkicker.com. Feel what you've been missing. Use the code NORSE20 to save 20%. The code and link in the chat there. So check those guys out. Great products and a big supporter of the series here. But let's bring up our race winner here tonight. J.R. Shepard, this is Adam, the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Adam.
Well, J.R., you do it again here. Win number 5 on the season. You were battling it out the whole race with Lucas Cram, and you finally got the over-under on him there. And how'd you get it done here tonight?
Yeah, this SK modified here at Richmond's really tough. It's I mean you're barely off the throttle in the corner, so the draft is huge, and you know, me and him both, it didn't matter who was in second place, we could stay with the other one. And I knew that once I completed the pass the second time, I needed to do a few things to try to break that draft. And one of the biggest things was just staying low out of turn 4. So it took him a little bit longer to get the draft hooked up coming out of there. So I think it allowed me to pull away just enough that at the end of the race he couldn't get back to me.
Yeah, and we saw in the last lap you had about a 2 car length gap coming across the line to the to the white flag. You got a little bit loose out of turn 2, and we saw that from a few drivers tonight. Was it just being on the throttle for so long, those tires getting hot and slick, or that's just kind of the nature of the speedway in these cars?
Yeah, the tires were going away for sure. The modified, the setups that we run, they they're tight getting into the corner, so you kind of slide the nose a little bit, and then from the apex off, the rear end wants to kick around. And as you go along into the race and get that tire wear wore down, it just gets worse and worse. And I was really just trying to hug the bottom through 1 and 2 on that last lap, and got just a little bit too low, so it worried me for a second there, but thankfully the rear end stayed under me.
Yeah, and you did a great job hanging on to it for sure. But the 5th win of the season in 8 races, just an incredible year, or incredible season for you so far. Just 2 more races left in the season. We go to Myrtle Beach next week, so you think you can close out another one there and hopefully seal the deal for the championship?
It'd be nice for sure, but yeah, Myrtle Beach is going to be a tough bull ring to race at, and it's kind of tricky in these cars. You got those curves or those turtles down on the inside of 1 and 2, so if you miss the entry just a little bit and grab it with a tire on the left front, then it can ruin your night. So anything can happen. We'll just go there and see what we can do, and hopefully have a decent run.
And you did everything you could tonight, leading the most laps, taking the victory. You do extend the points gap over Lucas to 6 now, so you guys are still pretty much neck and neck, trading wins and trading podium finishes here. So it's going to be exciting. I think down to the bitter end, it'll come down. I think to you two is really just the top 4 are in contention to win it. So does that take a little bit of weight off your shoulders, knowing that there's only a few guys that have a shot at it, and you're out in front?
I think it's worse, to be honest with you that way. Yeah, when you got a bigger field, there's a lot of things going on, and when a lot of guys are racing for that first spot, it makes it interesting and kind of levels it out a little bit. But when it's just 1 or 2 guys going for it, it's a different deal, and they're usually going to be the ones that are up front all the time. And Lucas, you saw tonight, qualified on the pole, and I really thought that was going to hurt my race for sure. I didn't think I'd be able to get by him the way this track is. So, Myrtle Beach, and I think the Bull Ring at Las Vegas is the last race. Any of those tracks, if somebody qualifies on the pole, it's going to be tough to do a whole lot with them.
Yeah, but you got it done here tonight. You lead 45 laps, started in that 2nd spot, but you do come home the winner for the 5th time this season. Anybody you want to give a shout out to that made tonight's victory possible?
Yeah, just thank the NorseForce Racing League again, and V-Speed for broadcasting these races for us. And congratulations to Lucas. He ran a great race, qualified on the pole and got 2nd, and Richard coming home in 3rd there. And everybody in the race, they ran hard, but we ran clean. Doing 60 laps of green flag racing was really cool, really nice to do.
Yeah, it was fun to watch you guys out in front, but congrats on the win again, and we'll catch you next week at Myrtle Beach.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. That was your winner here tonight, J.R. Shepard. Let's go to 2nd place finisher, Mr. Lucas Cram. We'll see if we can get up in here. Lucas Cram, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Lucas, you finished runner-up here. It was a great battle between yourself and J.R. Shepard. After starting on the pole, he slipped past you there. We saw you working really hard to catch up to him again. Was there anything you could have done to get back by him, or just too little too late?
Yeah, it was interesting because when he was behind me, he got a really big draft, and it seemed like the draft was a lot more crucial than what it felt when I was behind him. So I guess he was running a really good line behind me and timed a pass, and I managed to cross him over pretty well, and I tried that a second time. Unfortunately, though, he got really loose in front of me, and I had to roll out of throttle as it would have turned him. So, but yeah, after that, I don't know. We're running pretty fairly different lines actually. Off of 2 out from the left side's a lot lower, next to the O line longer, and it kind of helped me get a better turn. But in 3 and 4, he'd be a little bit close to the bottom, and that kind of helped him through 3 and 4. So it was kind of just like back and forth game. I would gain enough 2, then he would gain off forward. Just kind of like stayed constant like that throughout the entire race. And I made a couple charges to try to get up to him, but I just couldn't get big enough of a run to at least show my nose and try to get underneath him to pass. But yeah, I felt like maybe on the last lap he kind of slipped up a little bit off 2, and I kind of made a mistake into 1. So I feel like if I didn't mess up there, maybe I could have got a little bit closer. But it was just it was hard to change up much with how how long you're on the throttle on these cars at this racetrack, and it was a ton of fun there, especially at the start when we were swapping positions back and forth. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you were putting on a great show. It was you would close in like you said, and then fall back a little bit, but you were right there to the end and didn't give up as you two broke away from the rest of the field. This is your, I believe, 7th podium finish this season. So doing everything you possibly can to stay in the championship hunt, and just 6 points back going into Myrtle Beach and next week. So what are your thoughts on going out there? Do you think you can close that gap?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't have much track experience at Myrtle Beach. I have really no idea. I feel like it's gonna be kind of similar to this with the shape of it and whatnot. I feel like you're gonna be on the throttle quite a while. Obviously, that curve throws a huge wrench into it. So yeah, I don't really know what to expect there. And basically, it seems like the theme so far is to finishing one position behind JR every week. So it's been kind of tough to try to close that gap up and try to reel in the championship. But he's just he's not making mistakes that entire race. He made like 2 mistakes. It's insane. He's so talented, and I've been trying to chase him the entire season, and just can't quite get there. So but yeah, I'm not really sure, like I said, what to expect there. I know it's a pretty unique racetrack, obviously, so it's going to be probably nothing like nothing else for the most part. But I think the closest track you can compare it to is Richmond, so it's probably pretty similar to that, to be honest.
Yeah, 10-4. We'll see if you can get one over on him there, see if you can close that gap up, because I think it's really going to come down to you two fighting for this championship. Everybody else at least 20 points back, and essentially out of contention. It is still possible, I think, for a couple of those guys, especially if one of you doesn't show up. But you guys have been fighting it out back and forth all season, so it should be exciting to watch. But you come home second here tonight after starting on the pole. You did lead 15 laps in this one, and come home runner-up. Anybody you want to give a shout out to that made tonight's second place possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Huge shout out again to Matthew. I said every week, but does a great job on the series on. It's been a ton of fun. Huge shout out to you, of course, for the great broadcast. My buddy Stephen Gale for coming and spotting me. Huge congrats again to JR on the victory. And everybody who's watching the show.
Awesome, Lucas. Well, congrats again on another podium finish. A great season to this point, and a couple more before we close it out. But go celebrate your second place run, and we'll catch up with you at Myrtle Beach.
Thanks, buddy.
That is Lucas Cram, your second place finisher. Let's go to Richard Murray in the 3rd position. Richard Murray, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Well, Richard, you were right up there in contention. Up until about 5 or 6 laps to go. Saw you start to fade a little bit there, but definitely a strong performance to follow up last week's victory. So what was it like out there tonight in the SK Modifieds for you?
Yeah, the SKs at this track, it's tricky. You gotta be really smooth, and it's a bit more smooth than I have, apparently. It's all about momentum. If you make one tiny mistake, you're going back like a half a second. So it was green. It was green to checkered to the end. So if you had to stay within a certain distance between the guy in front of you to be able to close in on him using draft. So I was able to close in on him when they were battling, but unfortunately, once I got to him and got third, the party ended. So I couldn't really get anything else. Yeah, and then we got single file for a while, and once I was going to start going to try to get positions, I made a mistake and got loose in and lost all the track positions. So it's a tricky track, and it's really, really tough.
Well, you were definitely giving them a run for their money, and you come home with another podium. You're third in 4 races. So, you know, you haven't been here the whole season, but definitely putting on great performances, especially following up the dominating victory at Lanier 2 weeks ago. So we head to Myrtle Beach next week. What are your thoughts on going out there?
I feel like I might do better there because it's more of a short track and it's more what I'm used to. It's a little more, still a bit of a momentum short track, but a lot less than Richmond. It's not a super speedway like that. Hoping to look for, maybe go for a win there. That's really all what I'm doing here. I'm not worried too much about points, going for wins, but podium's good. I'll take it.
Yes, sir. And you're putting on great performances. I think another victory is not out of the picture for sure. You come home here third tonight after starting in the 4th position, up in the fight, basically all race. Anybody you want to give a shout out to that made tonight's 3rd place possible?
Yeah, I like first and foremost NorseForce for putting these races on. It's really fun. The field is always tough, and me, Lucas, and JR were having good races there. So keep it up, and we'll keep racing for you guys.
Awesome, Richard. Well, congrats on another solid run here, 3rd place finish, and we will catch up with you next week at Myrtle Beach.
All right, I'll see you then.
All right, that was 3rd place finisher Richard Murray in the 08 machine. Comes home with the 3rd place finish here tonight, but again, your winner, J.R. Shepard. Trying to get a picture of his race car here. There we go. J.R. Shepard comes home on top for the 5th time this season, and he's going to extend his points lead. So let's go to the rest of our results here tonight from Richmond in race number 8, and we'll see where these guys are headed next week at Myrtle Beach. But J.R. Shepard comes home with the victory, leading 45 out of the 60 laps. Lucas Cram finishes runner-up. He led the first 15 laps. Richard Murray, last week's winner, comes home in the 3rd position. Derek Trowbridge, a nice solid run in 4th. Jeff Dooley comes home with the top 5 here tonight. Joseph Sizek comes home in the 6th position. Garland Bennett comes home 7th. Brian Neff finishing in the 8th spot here tonight, so good run for him. Zach Burek comes home in 9th, and Dave Hughes is going to round out the top 10. In 11th, it was Andrew Olson, the only driver to be a lap down here at the end after starting from the pits. And then Jake Gualano and Chris Fritz did not take to the field here, so they are going to be scored 12th and 13th. No cautions here tonight. Green flag start to finish and 3 lead changes, so nice run for these guys at this big super speedway for the SK Modifieds here at Richmond Raceway. And again, this was a presentation of the NorseForce Raider SK Modified Series, race number 8. And we're going to be back here next week from Myrtle Beach Speedway. And also on Wednesday, we're going to be back with the Valhalla Cup Series. So you don't want to miss either of those races. But we want to thank all the sponsors here tonight: Blaze Pizza, the ButtKicker, Next Level Racing, as well as Crockett Creek Beef Jerky. Check out all of those. We're going to put the links for the ones in the chat that we did not already. There's Blaze Pizza and also Next Level Racing. So check those guys out. Give them your support. And we want to thank you all for tuning in here tonight on V-Speed. We were live here tonight on Twitch. You can check us out on YouTube as well, where we post race replays from the previous races. So you can check out last week's, or 2 weeks ago, the race at Lanier. That is up right now on the YouTube channel if you want to see Richard Murray's victory over there. If you enjoyed the broadcast here tonight, please consider following or subscribing. We want to thank King Sloshbuckler for the 4th month in a row. His subscription, big shout out to him. Also, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/vspeedsim, where we post announcements before each and every broadcast. And we post those same announcements on Instagram and Twitter, as well as special events, new merchandise, and on-site reporting. So that is going to do it for tonight's broadcast. And we will be back next Wednesday, like I said. But until then, have a great weekend.